this episode, Jason C. from the Mash and Drum joins us with some great pours as we talk about nosing and tasting bourbon. Learn our tips and techniques on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. Have you thought about supporting our podcast? Head on over to bourbonhunters.com where you can by purchasing Bourbon Hunters products and sign up for our Patreon, which includes exclusive access to single barrel announcements from our private single barrel club. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Dude Poole, and I'm joined by
Jason C.
Pour the Giggles.
Tyler Schaefer.
the Sex Machine. Tyler Schaefer.
Too sexy for my shirt.
Pour that bourbon on my body.
Too sexy for my shirt.
Drink it out of my belly button.
And that's how we're starting this episode, everybody.
That's how we start every episode, I feel like. All right, so this
Remove
episode...
the lint.
Oh no, the lint's that's like the when you add like the cherry to the drink and
Seasons it.
yeah, seasons it.
You
know?
lint liquor.
Yeah, only when I'm drinking shots out of the belly button.
Lint liquor.
You remember that commercial?
Yes. All right, so we are going back to the basics today. So we're going to talk about just some general things: tasting, nosing. You know how to do it, what we recommend. We've got some stuff here that we're drinking. We'll review it along the way, but we're not really, that's not the point of this episode. We're just going to talk about the basic types of things, what you're looking for when you go out to buy bourbon. Even we're just going to organically talk about some things, but that's where we're going to start. So let's get a little bit of something in our glass, and then we'll kind of jump into a little bit of what it is we're going to talk about tonight. Again, back to the basics. And what do you got there? You got Penelope 10-year? New
Penelope 10-year single barrel from their estate collection.
From their estate collection. So that was available from Luxro, right?
Yeah, so Penelope developed this as kind of their, since Penelope has been bought out by Luxro / Ross and Squibb / MGP, whatever you want to call them.
So this is different than the one they had in
Ross
the
and
gift
Squibb.
shop when we were there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is more of their high end.
Which I did get that, and that was really good. I've got
Yeah.
that
So
sitting back there.
that was the small batch one. These are the single barrels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is a single barrel version of that small batch.
Of that collection. This is more their high end. Now that they have access to more high end barrels through Ross and Squibb.
So this is MGP technically type stuff. 10 years old, you said?
Yeah, it's specifically chosen by Danny Polisi over at
I do
Penelope.
apologize. That was a little more than I expected.
Okay.
Oh, fritter pour.
I mean, yes.
I mean, it's close.
It's not quite a Russo pour.
It's not as bad when it's not friggin' George T. Stagg.
Is that what it was? It was a stag.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I actually went back and I was trying to find, like, when did I call him Fritter Tits or Giggly Bits or whatever the hell we were calling him?
Well, Fritter Tits, I think Fritter Tits I just made up for the shirt.
Yeah.
And then, but you were called Fritter by an old teacher, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And when you told that story, that's when the when the nickname started.
I went back and I listened. I found that part when you
Yeah.
said, they used to call you Fritter. I'm like, well, that's a nickname that's going to stay forever.
Yeah, and so we've
then
done
when you were
10
pouring
variations of Fritter something.
And then when you were pouring the George T. Stagg and we were talking to you, you started giggling. I'm like, hey, Giggly Bits over there.
And then it
And
became
then it
Fritter
just started.
Tits.
Fritter
and
Bits.
Yep,
and
yep.
Fritter Bits, Fritter Tits.
It's just evolved.
Giggles, pour to giggles.
Yeah, you started that one.
Yeah.
Giggly Dubois, that's your French giggles name.
That's like the La Maison du Whiskey version of...
That's his Louisiana name.
Giggly Dubois.
His French name is pour to giggles.
That's the La Maison du Whiskey version of
right.
Yes,
That's what.
yes,
That,
yes.
yeah. Oh
You're-
yeah, the French.
That's
yeah.
single barrel fritter.
Single barrel fritter.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
And just
so-
like a fritter, if he sits too long, he gets stale.
Well, that's true. He definitely gets stale if he sits too long.
My company for too long gets stale.
Whatever.
This
Anyway.
nose is fantastic.
Yeah. So as we're nosing this, let's talk about
Nose is
nosing.
like MGP.
Let's talk about nosing bourbon. So, what are some of your tricks and hints and recommendations whenever you nose some bourbon?
The first one's always make sure you're nosing with your mouth open a little bit, because if you
Right.
don't, you'll just get in all the alcohol rather than a lot of the flavors. And even though if you're not, too far along in nosing and tasting bourbon, you'll still get a little bit of that burn, especially if you go in a little bit too deep with your nose.
Yeah.
But you'll still, you just want to make sure you keep that mouth open a little bit, and you kind of work it from side to side. Your two nostrils work from two different sides of your brain. So one side could pick up something else while the other side picks up something completely different.
And so the two nostril thing, that's an important thing to talk about. So your body switches the dominant nostril like every, I can't remember what the time frame is, but it's like
20
every
seconds.
I think it's 15 20 seconds. Yeah, or it might be 15 20 minutes, but I think it's 15 20 seconds. Look it up, fact check me, whatever. But it does switch every so often. So
Facts optional.
So you that's Tyler.
Yes.
So when you're nosing something, go from the left nostril to the right nostril. As Jason just mentioned, one of the more important things, especially if you're coming from wine. In wine, you just shove your nose right in there. You get that full-fledged, schnoz in there, and you nose it. With bourbon, because it's a higher alcohol content, you want to get the nose in there, but you want to breathe, like you said. I breathe through the mouth, so I leave my mouth open, like you talked about. I'll breathe in and out through the mouth, and it actually kind of just through, what is it, an induction? It'll kind of pull through the nose, and you'll get some of that nosing, and it eases you into it before you start sniffing through the nose. So I'll open my mouth, put my nose in, breathe through my mouth first for a couple times, and then start breathing in through my nose.
So before you guys nose, are you a big fan of the swirl job? You guys do the swirl job?
Yeah, just
swirl.
to stir it up a little bit.
Stir it up a little
Stir
bit.
it up.
Little air induction.
It gets stirred up when you pour it.
Yeah.
It does
I'm
a little
indifferent
bit,
on
but
it. I don't know that it helps or not, doesn't.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things we're missing and we haven't talked about yet about nosing a bourbon is a nosing glass.
Yeah.
I think anything that's like tulip shaped, like an open rocks glass, you can get some good noses from those. I mean, it's a little concentrated, but nothing's better, in my opinion, than a good nosing glass. Like something that's tulip shaped that has that, concaveness, and then it expands back out at the top.
It's going to drive all the aromas to the tip of the glass.
Even a Kenzie dram is okay.
So something that has good surface area at the bottom for the liquid, and then it concentrates it and then opens it back up again. So like the bourbon trail glass that we like, the squatty potty that we talk about, allows for a little bit more surface area. It kind of comes in a little bit more and then back out. So I like that one a lot. The Kenzie dram is really good for that. The original, what is this?
Glencairn.
Glencairns are really good from that, which I think originated from Scotch and stuff like that, right? But I always recommend for nosing those types of glasses. That's why they're calling nosing glasses.
When I open a fresh bottle, I will almost always have the first pour of the bottle to be in a Kenzie dram. If the bottle's half empty, I'll choose a rocks glass.
I think that's a good point. First off, just talking about opening a new bottle. Generally, and I know you do this for your show, you'll let it sit for 15 minutes before you actually nose it.
Especially if it's high proof and especially if it's finished.
Right.
You just want to let those
things kind of
you want to let the alcohol kind of
dissipate a little bit from the nose.
You'll talk to some distillers, and honestly, look, some distillers don't believe in the whole neck pour thing. Some do. In my experience, I do feel like there's a difference. When I was talking about this with Jackie Zeichen way back when, she said that when the whiskey is in the neck of the bottle,
the alcohol just kind of sits there.
It could be a little bit. It could be a little bit tight.
Yeah,
and it needs a little air time to just to really open up and evaporate. So Nancy Fraley, who's the greatest blender ever, she's always said she likes to leave the glasses out a little bit. Even pours it, lets it sit overnight. We'll go back to it and see what other aromas open up.
Well, I mean, think about this just from a bottle perspective. A fresh crack of a bottle, a lot of times when you taste it, it's harsh isn't the right word, but there's a sharpness to it.
Yeah.
And then you go back to it when it's only a third missing, and it has a whole different taste to it. Generally. And I think that what you said, that allowing that alcohol to kind of, I don't know if it's evaporating out, but like that alcohol that's just been kind of sitting there at the surface, in gas form, you open up the bottle, it has a chance to kind of escape, and then you pour some, and it just replaces with oxygen.
Yeah, I mean,
think that it makes a difference.
It can develop in the glass a little bit.
Yeah,
that's kind of the beauty of it. Kind of like a glass of wine.
Yeah, no, 100%. I know we always joke about a neck pour, and it's not about the actual first pour out of the glass having something to do from being in the neck, because obviously when you tilt it, that goes back to the top and whatever. But it's more just about that's why we replaced that with Hyman pour. It's just the first pour. It's not about the neck. It's just about the fact that you just opened it. And it's the first pour out of the glass. A lot of times it's just a little sharper. There's
what are you guys nosing in this one?
Oh,
again?
this one has some great notes.
Is this nice?
It is really nice.
And thank you, Connor O'Driscoll, for saying Hyman pour.
Yes, on an episode of the Mash and Drum.
Oh boy,
that was good. No, that was funny.
Good old Martel.
Good. Yeah, he's the one who instigated it.
Did he?
Yeah,
yeah.
He was
job,
in the
Martel.
chat. He was in the chat telling him.
Yeah.
No, this has a really good sweetness to it. There's an underlying, really nice sweetness. What did we say? What the proof was on this?
I actually don't remember offhand what the proof is.
Yeah, I don't
single
either.
barrel.
It says 105 proof.
There you go.
So single barrel 10-year straight bourbon whiskey, Penelope, 105 proof.
This is more of the modern NGP flavor profile.
Yeah,
where it's a little bit more on the citrus side, cinnamon.
I was going to ask you to explain what you meant by that, but yeah,
This
citrus.
This kind of reminds me of that Remus Repeal 5 a little bit.
Oh, really? The 5, huh? That's a legendary. You getting that much like funky oak on it?
I mean, I'm getting a lot of good flavor on it, a lot of good sweetness, that traditional MGP citrus and sweetness.
Did you taste this yet?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing from here that I like in the MGP, which is more of the older school profile, is that heavy dark cherry note that you got.
Yeah.
Like almost that cherry cola note that you got on a lot of the old school MGPs. You can find it in some of the Gatsby's now here and there.
Right, yeah.
But this is more of the citrusy sweet profile that you get it, Tyler?
I
You like
get
that?
that.
This is really good.
He did the head bob. I think that's a good thing. He's like, pretty good.
Pretty good.
That was a great
He's
impersonation.
Just kind of doing the head bob.
Yeah, no, he does.
He's
like
like the
that.
Swedish chef from Muppets.
Oh, I love that. That was
That was the greatest thing I saw on Facebook when it was St. Patty's Day. Everybody just kept posting "Oh Danny Boy" being sung by the Swedish chef.
I did not see that.
The Swedish chef, Beaker, and Animal.
What?
That's amazing.
The three most incoherent Muppets are singing "Oh Danny Boy" for.
I would have loved that.
Yeah, I posted it. I think I repost. I got to show it to you.
Well,
later.
you know what's
It's
happening
hilarious.
when the bad weather starts in April.
Yeah.
You know what gets posted nonstop is the Justin Timberlake. It's going to be May.
It's going to be May.
And I love that. That's, every year, I don't ever get sick of that.
Whenever it's you'll know this guy, but whenever it's about to snow or have a big snowstorm, I always revisit that New York comedian guy who did the "Gotta get the bread and milk." I gotta get the bread and milk. They said snow.
I'm not familiar.
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh my God!
Can you come up with any more obscure things that no one knows what you're talking about? That would be lovely.
Yeah, pull a 150-year-old candy out of your ass that this tastes like.
Abba Zabba.
Exactly.
I feel like they might have pulled some stuff out of their ass.
That's good stuff.
This is really good.
Yeah, this is good.
There's the cherry cola it's just a subtle hint.
There could be a hint of it there. Yeah.
It's not like in the forefront like some other things that I've tasted, but I do feel like there's something there, cola-esque or cola adjacent. This is good.
Yeah, Danny Polisi, who blends all the Penelope stuff, he said he really was scouring through the rick houses looking for some really unique barrels. So
that'd be really cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And MGP just has thousands of barrels.
That's what I mean. Just having access to just.
So we're working on a project with them for Mash and Journey where we're doing a community blend idea. We did this.
That's cool.
We did this with Barrel King a couple years ago.
Well, and then who was it? Was it Makers that did a community blend not too long ago? Maybe 2
they
or
did
3 years
something
ago.
like that,
I those are always pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think.
we walked around the Rick House and we basically at Barrel King and we thieved maybe 4 or 5 different barrels and we're like, okay, I think these 5 are different enough where we can work with them.
Yeah.
So then we gave it to our patrons. We had a group of we had 4 different groups. It was 5 in each group. and they all got to. It was kind of a
Sample
competition. It was all a competition between the 5 groups.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are going to make a blend out of these barrels.
so
You're going to make a
they
blend.
blended.
And then basically when they were done, we blind tasted them all to pick a winner, and then that got actually blended and bottled. So we're working with Penelope to do that again, but yeah, I think Danny's actually going to pick the barrels for us because we can't obviously go walking around MGP's workhouse.
Why
Well,
not?
Yeah.
We got offered to do an MGP pick, but I don't know. I forget what brand it was.
The
Rebel
Remus?
100
and
and
that's-
Ezra 7.
No, that was.
No,
Oh, no,
that's
that's
Lux.
That's Lux
Yes.
Row.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was not. That wasn't.
Was it
same
one of the?
thing.
Was it
Maybe
one of
the Remus.
Was it one of the finished ones?
I
No,
don't
I
think so.
can
I think
look.
it might have been.
They're doing finished.
But we would have to do it with somebody else because I think they want to do 2 barrels.
a Rebel and an Ezra, you mean?
No.
No, that's Lux Row.
Lux.
That's completely
Hold on.
separate.
Oh, so you're
We
talking
are
about,
we are doing that. We're
Okay.
doing
Yeah.
we're doing a Rebel and a 7. So we're doing a Rebel 6-year 100 proof, and we're doing a Lux Row Ezra 7, basically old Ezra
Yeah.
single barrel.
If you
Which
like
I
it-
didn't even know was a thing. I didn't
Yeah.
know old Ezra did single barrels.
If you'd like a chance to come on that, check out our Patreon.
Remus Distiller
Yeah.
Vault.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Remus. That's what I thought.
What's it called?
Remus Distiller Vault?
Yes.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Well, that's why we're wanting to maybe do it.
That might be a new pick thing.
Yeah. They'll probably start rolling out soon. You'll probably start seeing them. If it's available now to make the picks, you'll probably start seeing them coming out
Well,
soon.
when we were there and we picked like 12 barrels of stuff between Lux Row and MGP,
Wow.
they said that they were like rebranding all their
Yeah.
like the Remus Highest Rye. Probably one of the best barrels I ever tasted was from MGP. The Highest Rye was like 9 years old. It was incredible. That's the 30. That's the I'm sorry. It's 51% corn, and the rest of it is rye. So it's the highest rye imaginable.
No malted barley?
No, but the
So
49%
49% rye? And,
Yeah, but
wow.
10% of that rye is malted rye. So
Oh,
it's 39 rye,
okay. Oh.
10% malted rye, 51%
That's
corn.
cool.
So you could buy it.
9-year.
It's on the shelf. You could buy Highest Rye. It's 6 years old. I think it's a hidden gem.
It's called Remus Highest Rye?
Yeah, but that's the problem with it. When people were reading the label, they thought because it said Highest Rye, people thought in their mind that it's a rye whiskey. It's actually a bourbon, and it's really good. So they're rebranding that whole line. So maybe they're doing the same with the picks too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's finish this one off.
Yeah.
Let's do something new, and then let's talk about tasting.
Yeah, for sure.
What are the proofs on your other ones?
High.
Hi.
Except for
Hello.
the Blood Oath.
What's that from?
Which pick is that?
That one is from the new sheriff in town, Camp Nelson F.
Oh, it's a CNF.
Who is it from?
I don't know.
The new sheriff in town.
Yeah, the new sheriff in town.
It doesn't say who.
No, it does not.
Like a.
Does not say
Store or
selected by.
anything?
Just says 9 years old.
You
Let's
think
try
that
that.
last, or what do you think? Is that
This one?
Yeah.
Probably the old Carter last.
Okay.
Because it's the American whiskey. It's a pretty high proof.
130s.
And I remember, I think you've brought that here before, and I really loved
The old
it.
Carter?
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't bring it here, but you had it in the whiskey room.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Let's.
Because
last-
he brought he brought an old Carter out when we were on the patio one time.
Yeah,
it might
that
have been
was-
the first time you came here. Actually.
That was one of the bourbon batches.
I also brought this.
Oh, Four Roses.
What the? You guys are.
I'll
trying to
raise.
get-
I'll raise you.
Yeah.
Are we trying to bottle kill that tonight?
We can bottle kill this.
Listen,
We can. I mean, that's why I
you
brought
said
it.
it.
If you let me pour it, I'll kill it.
We know that.
Well, just put it around.
We know that.
We might as well drink this because this isn't a super high proof.
Let's do that next.
Okay.
Let's do that next.
There you go.
Because I love me some Four Roses first off, and it's the 135, right?
It's the 135th anniversary.
Introduce it, JD.
This is the 135th anniversary Four Roses Small Batch LE
Oh, baby.
from
So 135, what?
2023.
right? 2023. So 2
It's
years ago.
54%, so 108.
135 years of a Four Roses.
So speaking of Four Roses limited edition, I've really enjoyed the one that you got for me, JD. That was what 2024.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's grown on me. When I first, it was very tobacco heavy, very oak heavy, and the more and more I drink it, the more I go back to it. I'm just like, damn, this is really good.
Yeah, the LE seemed to find a fine line between
it
being spicy and sweet.
So I got a
sometimes-
great story.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Got
well,
a
tell your
great
story. But hold on. Keep that story on hold.
Somebody's got to pour the rest
Okay.
of it to kill it.
I mean, I got to.
I don't have to drive
I'll-
tomorrow. I don't have to do it.
I'll
Jason
I'll,
will-
I'll kill
Jason
the
will
rest.
kill
You want it? Okay.
Yeah. It's not that much.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Before we get into your story,
Nice.
which I cannot wait to hear, let's talk about tasting.
Yep.
So we talked about nosing, right? So when we taste a bourbon for the first time, or for any time you have a bourbon, what do you guys tend to? You have your
Does
favorite.
anybody do the Kentucky Chew?
Not really.
Well, let's talk about all that.
Yeah.
You're about to say something.
I'll say shout out to Angel's Envy. I think to this day.
Is this
they-
when we went on that tour the first
Yeah,
time?
it was like one of our first
Yeah.
tours. And I think to this day they've done the best job of walking you through and actually how to taste bourbon from each step, literally from sip to sip. I love that.
I will
everywhere
agree.
else,
I have another story similar.
Yeah,
but
everywhere
yeah,
else-
I agree.
might do that to some extent, but like their whole tasting was around, hey, in a competition, I don't know if that was correct or not, but in a competition, this is the way that you truly try to taste bourbon. And that was my first time that I think I've ever like done that.
Yeah, it was the first time I had ever done it
Yeah.
too. This was 2020 or 2019. It was December
Yes,
of 2019.
2019,
So what were some of the quick tips that Angel's Envy said? I'm just curious. Like you already forgot.
So the first sip is about, getting your mouth accustomed to that visceral reaction.
For sure.
Yep.
That's
The-
definitely part of it.
Yeah,
And then-
basically it was the first sip is a throwaway
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get that especially if you haven't had anything to drink all day.
Yeah.
The first drink is almost that visceral reaction. Everything's going to taste hotter. Everything's going to taste because you haven't had anything to drink
Yeah.
alcohol-wise all day. So
Maybe-
that was the first thing.
Which leads me to a quick tidbit. Like before
Yeah.
Wednesday nights when I'm doing a lot of pours,
You'll do a primer.
I do a primer.
Yeah, we normally do too.
Yeah, I'll have like
Yeah.
a sip of a 90 proof something or 100 proof something just to
Yep.
set the palate off.
That's kind of like Mouth Experience Monday.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what we've used it for. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, 2 was more around mouthfeel, textures, and then sip number 3 was a lot more of, hey, what do you get on the front to the back?
Yeah.
And now you should be a little bit more acclimated to the flavors.
Yeah.
So keeping
And
on
then-
that same. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then to attaching that with, if you haven't done it yet, I would highly suggest looking at a flavor wheel and pairing that also on the nose side of things.
Yeah.
That's very important as well.
Sure.
We didn't talk about it, but nosing kits.
Yeah.
I don't use them anymore, but they've really
They were
really helped in
a
the past
great
about
way to
yes.
get your way into it. Like Nose Your Bourbon is a
Correct.
good one that's out there.
Nose Your
Yep.
Bourbon's great.
And they
Yeah.
have a couple of additional kits that you can
Yeah.
add to the base kit.
Yeah, extension kits.
So when anyone says these are the notes you're looking for, both on the nose and the palate, that wheel is a good thing to put your mind, the actual connection of the smell and the taste to
Yeah. No, you're right.
what is this? So those two things I think are really important.
Well, the hardest thing, in my opinion, about tasting, nosing, same thing, but the hardest thing about both of them is the recall. Being able to take what you're smelling and tasting and attaching it to a memory that you have of another flavor or smell. That's the toughest thing, and I think that takes a lot of time.
I learned all my tasting, like my crash course in tasting was actually, and she probably doesn't remember this at all, but it was with Elizabeth McCall at Woodford. One of my first interviews I ever did with a distiller for the Mash and Drum was at Woodford Reserve talking to Elizabeth McCall. And she went through, because at the time she was like pulling over 200 flavors out of Woodford Reserve. And I was like, wait, what? I'm like, how? So I'm like,
Especially at 90.4.
Yeah, I'm like, show me how you do this, Jedi Master of palate.
She left me on red.
So yeah, she's a little hard to get a hold of, but
I have a feeling she's busy, and there's a lot of people reaching out to her.
yeah. So she sat me down, and I was like, what's as a yeah, I know it's really good. She's like, as a distiller and as someone, because remember she came through the Old Forester, route where she had Jackie Zeiken's role where she was
Master
like the
taster
master
type of thing.
taster and was going through all the sensory and can really pick out anything.
Yeah.
So very good palate, obviously. But she told me, she's like, well, look, everybody has a right to taste bourbon the way they want. Obviously, what you said to allude to what Tyler said, yeah, first sip's going to be a little bit of a throwaway. You want to get your palate acclimated to whatever you're drinking. And then as you keep sipping it, what flavors resonate, what reminds you of things. Obviously, your vanillas, your caramels are going to be there, but what else can you pull out of the glass? That really comes down to, she said, experiencing your food and what you smell.
Right.
Like, don't just take it for granted. If you're having a dessert and if you have a piece of chocolate cake there, instead of just diving in and scarfing it down, smell the piece of cake.
Right.
Really, like, try to savor it.
Let it sit on your tongue.
Yeah, let it sit on your tongue, savor it. And this goes for any sort of food because any sort of little spice or flavor in your food can bring out something in the whiskey. I know it sounds crazy because, I still get comments on my videos like, how the hell are you pulling out all this stuff? This is like, they'll say, oh, this is bullshit. I'm like, well, just so you know, it's not bullshit. It's what you connect with. I'm like,
right. It's your recall.
I'm like, I grew up in a kitchen with my grandma.
Right.
And there was food
JD
everywhere.
with his freaking buckle up stories.
Yeah.
With his grandparents and whatever. I mean, and that's what it all. So when I used to listen to the Bourbon Road before the Big Chief left, he always had some sort of story that went along with where he, connected to that flavor, that smell, and that's what it is. It's recall.
Yep.
And if you're not trained in that, and again, by trained, I mean you just haven't done it enough. And so that's what you're talking about, Jason. I think getting yourself accustomed and attuned to those flavors and those smells and those tastes, you have to actually make an effort. You have to actually, like, when you're tasting a dessert, when you're tasting a steak, when you're tasting a chicken, finished in a rub or whatever, you have to really sit there and not just put it in your mouth and chew it and swallow it. You have to actually kind of really think about the flavors you're getting.
Yeah, and to Tyler's point, those nosing kits do really help. Because,
they do.
Because if, for a rye, for instance, if I'm smelling a rye, I'll normally get clove, and some people will be like, "What the hell does clove smell like?" And a nosing kit, you just get a jar of clove.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could open it and you could smell exactly what it's like, and then all of a sudden that recall in your brain will start happening.
And I think that's the biggest thing, and that's the problem I think most people have when they're tasting or nosing.
You don't know what you're looking for.
You don't. Well, you just haven't. You haven't bridged the gap between the nose and the taste and recall of things in your memory. And that's where JD shines. And I know we always joke about it and say buckle up, but he has a very good ability to attach memories from his youth and from his childhood, from his whatever, to flavors that he's getting from a bourbon or from.
For example, on this one I'm having
Here
right
we go.
now.
Buckle up.
I don't often get this on Four Roses, especially, but it's reminiscent to my aunt used to bake a lot for me. And
who didn't bake for you?
There's a reason I'm 280 pounds.
Well, part of it's that you're 6'5".
Well, I'm tall too.
Yeah.
Hey, I can hit a golf ball 300. But anyways,
he always has to sneak that in,
right? Hey, Jason can too, but he loses about 200 yards with his slice.
Yeah, it goes. Listen, I can hit it 300 yards sideways.
If you follow the actual distance of the ball, it's 300 yards.
Watch
it's
out,
just
homeowners.
It's 300 yards sideways, baby.
It's 300 yards with a 180 yard curve.
You guys can see the power. Just the ball doesn't experience it.
The power was amazing. I was in 100% complete awe of your power. Your control, not so much.
Yes. The power is sideways. That's all I'm saying.
So on this, I'm getting my aunt's banana walnut bread.
Banana, really?
I am. It's weird. It's really weird. I'm getting like a banana.
I get a little bit of banana, like a fresh banana, actually. I
haven't had this in a while. And there's some whiskey in here that's over 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I feel like I could taste that on the back end.
I think it's a 25-year-old.
Yeah, it's got the funky, Four Rosy oak on the back end, which is nice.
This is one of those bourbons that I have trouble pinpointing and recalling flavors. I just know that I like it.
Yeah. Well, this
lot.
is one of those whiskeys that's just so layered.
Yeah.
Your mind just goes to a
Right,
million different
and that's the
directions.
problem. And so here, let's take it back to tasting. When you get some really good bourbon, sometimes it's really hard to recall and connect to what the flavors are because there's so much going on.
There's so much vanilla in this too.
Yeah, vanilla I get, and that's
Vanilla bean.
It's the trademark taste: vanilla, caramel, butterscotch,
Yeah.
toffee.
Listen,
baking spice.
here's a
spice.
little life hack. If you go to a tasting and you don't know what you're tasting, if you just say vanilla and caramel, you're in, or brown sugar, you're in pretty good shape of at least having some people be like, oh yeah, I get that.
You're hitting about 90% of the
Right.
flavors, yeah.
So the layers that you get though, so you talked about Angel's Envy. At Heaven Hill, you weren't with us, but it was me, Brett, and it might have been Jeff Tress. We went down for just a quick, we did the connoisseur tasting. And it was such a really good, interesting tasting. But the lady, she did a good job of, similar to what you're talking about, explaining how to do the tasting. So what she said is, and I love her phrase. One of the phrases she said at the end is, "Your second taste is for free." And so what she said is, you take it in, you don't swallow it right away. You let it kind of sit on your tongue. This is kind of like the Kentucky Chew that you talked about, Jason, where you take it in, you let it sit on your tongue a little bit. You kind of let it linger over different parts of the tongue, the front, the back, the sides, and then you swallow it.
And then you burp it up.
Well, you don't burp it up, but you swallow it down and then you breathe it out. But when you breathe it out, you kind of allow it to just still attack your tongue. Not just like, but like you actually kind of small mouth opening, breathe it out.
Second sip, I always just like to, take a small sip, let it sit on the front of the tongue, see if I feel that sparkle.
Yeah.
See if anything kind of...
That's how I won over my girlfriends in high school.
Pandemic.
Jesus Christ. Hey. Yeah, just to see if anything, if it gives me like that effervescence, the spice.
Yeah.
Because at the tip of the tongue is where I get most of the spice from. And then once I swallow it and it hits the sides of the tongue, that's when you start to look for the texture.
So you're
Get
saying
the
once
rye.
it enters the mouth.
Once it enters your mouth. I didn't want to say it because that's his thing.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I'm not going to live that down, am I?
No, never.
no, especially when you like sat up like a little kid. You got all excited when it enters your mouth.
He did. It was like a little kid in Catholic school.
Oh, catechism?
Nothing. I just made a horrible priest.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that one.
So do you want to hear my story?
Not with a priest.
Not what the priest said. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Wow.
Tyler.
Yeah.
So, coming up on a year of having the house, which means the warranty walkthrough. We're walking through the house. Guy goes in my office where I have all my bourbon.
Buckle up.
And he just chatted about it a little bit. And he's like, yeah, I was actually at this person's house where, in the neighborhood where we were doing a walk. And he had a Murphy Door bourbon room. It was really cool. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And he's like, I also just had this walkthrough with this lady where her son does bourbon reviews, well known, Mash and Drum, I'm like, oh yeah, it's Jason. He's like, yeah, I did the walkthrough for the warranty help on his mom's house. And I was like, oh, that
Really?
must have been amazing. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, quite the spitfire, but once I just figured her out, we got along amazing. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's
He must have
that's
gave her a
fucking
Henry
accurate.
McKenna.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
That's
Quite the spitfire.
Yeah,
That's my mom.
quite
That's
the
a
spitfire.
great description.
that's
Yeah.
my mother.
I've
yeah.
never met your mom. I want to, just
Yeah.
so you know. I want to meet your mom. But based on your impersonations, whatever,
Yeah.
quite the spitfire is a great description.
And he truly meant that as like
A compliment.
a compliment,
Yeah,
like
sure.
a fun way. And it wasn't really a struggle. It was just like once you got to know her, you're like, oh, Like, this is fun. Like, you know,
Yeah, she told
she's
me.
great.
She told me all the stories. How
Yeah.
when people were coming over to like once she was building a house, like you want some bourbon? I can
Yeah.
please Glenn.
Yeah.
So she was all over it.
I
Yeah.
was about to say,
That's
did he
fucking
bring
great.
her a Henry McKenna?
I don't
He
know if I
probably
made
didn't
the.
bring
I
her
thought
one.
about that, but I don't know that he would have known Henry McKenna. So I didn't make that comment.
So he wasn't a super bourbon guy.
I don't
but-
think so,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom is. Long story short, my mom's been like fighting to get trees planted behind her house.
Yeah.
Because for privacy reasons.
Privacy, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they built something else like right behind her, and she feels like everybody
Yeah.
could see everyone's business.
Yeah.
So it's like just something to give a little bit of a privacy, and she's been like fighting for this, and she's been like dealing with the board of directors and going crazy, and she will not let up until those trees are planted.
Oh, that's nice.
So she's gotten all the people from whoever's building her house. I forgot who's building. I think it's like Ryan Holmes or somebody, and then the Chamber of Commerce had to come over because they were fighting between who's going to take care of the trees. And she's like, "Everybody just have some bourbon and just get this freaking thing done." Like she was freaking out.
Oh, I love
and she
that.
just got everybody in the room and was like giving them whiskey, and they hashed it out. So
That's
my
fucking great.
mom knows what she's doing.
I love it.
So to the tasting side of things, that's an awesome story. Awesome story, by the way. To the tasting side of things, what do you guys feel about like eating things to help complement or supplement your tasting? Like when we were at Angel's Envy, they gave us a chocolate.
Are you talking about cleaning your palate or to have something in
Something that-
conjunction with the bourbon?
Yeah, the second one. So both.
Majuscas.
Both technically.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Especially
Majescas.
the Old Forester ones.
Yeah, Majeska, but both technically. So things to clean your palate potentially between, but also things that might enhance the flavor of what you're tasting. And my opinion on the enhancement side of things is you almost need to know
When to take it.
what the taste of
You don't want to take it too early in the day. For the enhancement stuff.
the blue pill.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. No, but like my opinion about the enhancement of the flavor is that you have to know what that flavor is going to be ahead of time sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, Old Forester Majescas are great. But like I've also done some chocolate covered freeze-dried bananas with Old Forester,
yes.
and that was amazing. We
Well,
did
I
that
could
on
see
the
that
podcast
going
along.
together well,
It
yeah.
was so good. And it just amplified.
I love having chocolate covered cherries or blueberries
Yeah,
with
yeah,
whiskey. It's so good.
But like, can you think of a situation where maybe
It's usually a dessert. You know, to,
Yeah,
to
I
me,
don't.
yeah,
I don't
like
generally.
chocolate,
I
I think
can't
is a-
drink bourbon with
yeah,
like
with food,
dinner.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
No.
cannot either. I can do it
I
beforehand.
can do an
but
old
once,
fashioned,
Yeah.
but
Dessert though,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
yeah.
for sure.
Chocolate cake, and I just feel like chocolate in general.
Chocolate.
brings out a very heavy
Yeah.
almond note in bourbon to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Always.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think chocolate's a great enhancer of bourbon flavor. I think marshmallow can also be too, like the
marshmallow, for sure.
Majescas.
Yeah.
That's chocolate, that's marshmallow, that's salted caramel.
Yeah.
It's
It's got
like
all
all
the-
those
all the
things,
things.
that you would enhance your bourbon flavor
in
with.
one beautiful bite.
Yeah, for sure. one beautiful bite.
The perfect bite.
Yeah, pretty much.
So let's kind of give a real quick conclusion. What do we think of this?
Do you guys remember having this when
I
brought it
do.
over?
Yeah.
So
this was one of my favorites. The year you gave this to us, this was my bourbon of the year.
I wasn't here for that one, and so the first time I actually had it was when we went to Maker's Mark and we stopped in Four Roses at the bar. I got a pour of it, and this is actually better than the bottle they poured me because I think yours has been open maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, probably.
But
A little more
I own 2022. I also own 2024. This one definitely has a little more complexity than those two.
this
but-
is still one of my top, probably at least top 10 ever.
2021,
But I would
when
even
you shared
maybe
it
say-
with us,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the best.
I would
of
say
those four.
this is at least a top 10 ever for me.
Yeah.
This bottle.
Oh, 2021 I think is better than this
What's
one.
next?
I don't know what's next, but one of the other things I wanted to talk about. So that was tasting. We did nosing, we did tasting. The other thing I wanted to talk about is like basically just recommendations if you're starting out. Maybe not necessarily brands, but not following the hype in a certain direction one way or the other. That type of thing. But what to maybe focus on if you're a new person in the bourbon industry and you're surrounded 100% by everyone needs to have Weller, everyone needs to have this, everyone needs to have that. What to basically focus on.
Best advice I ever got, and this isn't, and this is funny too, because I got this in the very beginning of my personal bourbon, kickoff on my bourbon journey, whatever you want to call it. And
Did you just say my bourbon journey?
Yeah, I'm going to owe Scott like $5. Anyway,
that's Scott Page.
And I think it reigns true now, especially now, just to your point, with all the brands that are out there.
Yeah.
That don't follow the hype. I know it's very hard. You're going to want to try Buffalo Trace, and you're going to want to try Weller and
chasing
Taylor
LTOs
and all that stuff.
and all that stuff.
And that's fine. If you want to do that, that's completely up to you. But if you're interested in really getting into bourbon and trying to find out what you like, exactly what you like, best advice I got was to pick one brand, one distillery, and start with the heritage brands. Don't get into all the crazy stuff just yet.
Or even craft or whatever.
But if you just want to get into bourbon, pick a Heaven Hill, pick a Jim Beam.
I think all of us will recommend Wild Turkey.
Yeah, pick a Wild Turkey, whatever you want to do.
They don't have a lot of variation. That's the only issue, I would say.
But pick one distillery that you could drink on for about 2 to 3 weeks. All right, just experience everything that you get from Wild Turkey 101, Russell's. You don't have to get into the rye yet, but bourbon wise, Rare Breed, just try those and just drink those for about 3 weeks. Then once your palate is acclimated to that and you feel like you have gotten every flavor you can
between the same brand.
Well, introduce a different brand to the mix. Then go get something from Heaven Hill, because once your brain and your palate is locked into Wild Turkey, now you're introducing something completely different to your palate. And now either your palate's gonna have a little bit of shock and be like, wait, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
I like that better, or this is not as good as Wild Turkey.
Right.
And then you could really start breaking down those flavors and what you like as your palate acclimates.
Yeah.
No, I think
I like sticking with a brand. I like the idea of sticking with a brand.
Yeah.
Because I think in the beginning we just want to taste everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while that's fine,
but it's like buckshot.
Yeah.
It's going everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's a great starter recommendation is pick a brand that you kind of like.
It's actually what I did to find out I loved Wild Turkey so much.
Yeah. I mean, Wild Turkey is a good example. You just mentioned like 4 different, and they're all the same mash bill, right? Like Rare Breed and Russell's and Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah, but again, it's just like about getting used to that profile.
But getting used to the profile. Yeah, exactly. And then branching out from there, maybe going to, and here's the other thing is like Heaven Hill has a wheated, they have a rye, they have all these different things.
But there's a common thread
sure
that runs through them.
100%.
And you could,
But maybe you pick something simple to begin with, like a Woodford Reserve. Mm-hmm. And you get used to the Woodford Reserve, flavor profile or the Wild Turkey flavor profile. And then, because here's the thing, like you've got places like Buffalo Trace that have like 21 different brands.
Exactly.
Inside of it's all 2 different mash bills, and they have like 21 different, labels, between the Weller and the Benchmark and the Eagle Rare and the Buffalo Trace and all that stuff, Blanton's and everything else. But focus on something, like you said. I think that's a great hint or a great recommendation is to focus on something a little less buckshot.
Yeah.
One mash bill, focus on it, different proof points, different whatever.
Hey,
single,
look, if you're
single barrels,
and
things like that.
Listen, if you're lucky to have a friend or access to a lot of Buffalo Trace, feel free to start with that if you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
But I
I'm just
feel
saying,
like that's just all over the place between, versus like a...
But you could find a Penelope wheated, and experience something wheat because it's on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to hunt down antique or special reserve.
Well, right, but I think just getting started, finding a brand and really experiencing that brand before you start branching out to those types of things, I think is a great thing to do.
I think once you experience a certain brand for, a couple weeks, then go get a bunch of Penelopes. But just find something that you have access to that you can experience for a little bit and then try that brand. And then this way you really get to know what you like and what you dislike.
The alternative to that might be try a weeded brand, like a Makers or something like that, or a
Yeah.
Larceny or, whatever, Weller, and then trying a rye bourbon brand, something, and then
Yeah.
focusing on those, comparing the two, what you like about the weeded, what you like about the rye.
Maybe Michter's rye,
Yeah.
But I mean more on the bourbon side of things.
but that's a 51%. So if you
No,
want
I
to try
I hear
whiskey,
you. I hear you. But
Yeah.
just from the bourbon perspective, I think you could do wheat, you could do a rye based bourbon.
Yeah, ryes are like another rabbit hole because then you have your Kentucky
Right.
ryes
Oh,
versus
yeah.
your
Right.
95.5 ryes versus like a Jack Daniel's rye.
But I mean, there's no wrong way to do it, to be honest, because I was buckshot out of the gates. I was
Yeah,
100%
man.
buckshot.
So was I until I got, it's like, why don't you, instead of trying to taste
Well, and
everything.
that's kind of what
And I
I
thought
ended
that
up
was-
doing
yeah.
later, and I think that helped me tune my tasting notes, is getting very familiar with Wild Turkey,
Yeah.
getting very familiar with some of the Buffalo Trace, like recipe 1 versus recipe 2 and stuff like that. But like just getting used to it and then introducing something after you've done it for a month or 6 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, and then introducing something else to it to then start to recognize the differences.
Tyler, what did you do when you were first getting into it? Were you just kind of trying everything?
Everything.
I mean, that's what I did too. Like
Yeah.
he and I both, I think, were just trying everything.
Yeah. It wasn't until really maybe you joined a few different clubs where we were able to access
Yeah.
like multiple styles
Yeah.
of Russell's Reserve or Elijah Craig or whatever.
I joined
Yeah.
Breaking Bourbon and Bourbon Enthusiast right out of the gates. I didn't enjoy Breaking Bourbon's palate. I didn't agree with most of the stuff they picked, but I did enjoy Bourbon Enthusiast. I was really on board with his picks. And I didn't join another club until you started yours. When you started yours, I joined yours because I knew that you and I pretty much aligned
Yeah.
on our palate. And that's the thing. That's the thing about bourbon, man. Everyone talks about, oh, you got to get this, you got to get this, you got to get this, but everyone's palate is different.
Can I offer up something that I wish I didn't do?
Sure.
Yes.
What not to do?
You talking about the anal or pegging Fridays?
Don't
Yeah,
slurp
don't.
it. Don't put a straw in your whiskey and slurp it up your nose.
That too. No, when I was early on into branching out, I hadn't really tried a lot of the available stuff with Jim Beam or various other legacy distillers. And I went to OPA and I tried the Revival from Wild Turkey, the Master's Keep.
Man,
I
talk
did-
about jumping into it.
Yeah,
Jesus.
right.
Right.
So I didn't like it though, because I was so early. My palate hadn't really been formed.
You didn't know what. I mean, that was a sherry finished.
Yes,
That's a
bourbon.
lot. Yeah.
That's a whole nother. You're like, what am I drinking?
People call that the best sherry finish ever.
Yeah,
That,
they're-
that particular
yeah,
release.
I think it's one of. Yeah.
And I wish I could try it again. I don't know if OPA still has more, but I want to try it again.
I'm trying to
now
get
that-
another. I'm trying to get another bottle of that because I miss it.
What do we got next?
It's probably the
so-
last one for me. Let's do Carter. Let's do I want to do old Carter.
Last one.
You
for-
didn't
well,
even drink the Makers that you wanted to drink.
I know.
wait, first. Before we do the card, we can do the Carter after this.
Yeah, let's
but I
do
want
the
you guys to
reveries.
try
I want to
this.
do the reveries. Yeah,
Yeah,
I want to try that.
Yeah. There you go.
the J West release.
Let's let Giggle Pours do the first one.
Oh, thanks.
So we've talked about a lot of things. I think, and a lot of this is just personal preference. A lot of this is just personal recommendations
Yeah,
as well.
look, if you want to put ice in your bourbon or anything else, don't let anybody tell you different
right.
either.
The one thing I've always taken from the Bourbon Road podcast is your bourbon your way.
Yep.
And I don't ever. I think it's funny when people post like Pappy with Coke and ice, off to the side. I always think that's funny, because it just pisses off like the purists,
Somebody recently sent me a photo of an ad. I don't remember what the ad was for, but it was like a cowboy dude, and he's sitting.
It was me. I
Was
sent
it
it
you?
to you. Yeah.
Cowboy? Oh, you did
It
that.
was Renin. It was
Yeah,
something
what was that?
Ren.
What was that from?
Renin something.
Yeah, it was
hold
a
on.
guy with like a bunch of crushed ice in a glass. Like the crushed ice was all the way
Yes,
to the top,
and he's pouring Pappies into
Pappy
it,
in
and it was crushed ice. It
Yeah,
wasn't
crushed
like
ice.
it wasn't a large form ice.
I'm like, well, that's gonna get watered down in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I sent this. You said, "LOL, who is that?" And I said, not only is he pouring Pappy over ice, your bourbon, your choice.
Yeah.
Hashtag me too.
Yeah.
And I said, but crushed ice? And then you said all the crushed ice.
Yeah.
And it's a Ren and Ivy advertisement.
Ren and Ivy.
Yeah.
I'm good. I got it.
Which I think, no, the lid. Here it is.
I like the nose on this.
Yeah, isn't that nose nice?
But what was funny about it is Ren and Ivy, like if you look at the bag, it looks like a great product. But like their marketing department just missed the mark.
Or they hit the mark. Maybe they're going for the casual.
So this is the image I sent him. He's pouring Pappy, but look at his glass. It's like full of crushed ice. And it's trying to look rugged, you know. He's trying to look like a rugged image, you know. And he's pouring Pappy into a glass of crushed ice, and I'm just like, wow, the marketing department knows not what they do.
And the crushed ice is like all the way to like the top of the glass.
All the way to the top. It's 100% to the
It's
top.
like, was that supposed to be a Slurpee from 7-Eleven? What are you doing?
Snow cone.
And
Snow
listen,
cone.
if that's how you like your bourbon, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it just was funny because like the purists are, if they see that, they have to be texting their friends like, oh, look at this fucking douchebag. Anyway, all right. So this is Reveries. Right?
So Reveries is a brand started by Jay West, also known as Take, from the R Bourbon. He runs the R Bourbon Reddit, and he also is a big part of running Shared Pour. Guy's an amazing palate. He travels all the world. He has a ton of different spirits, but this was his.
He's been doing this for years.
He's been doing it for years.
So
And
this is 120.3 proof, so 60.15 alcohol by volume.
So these are all different MGP barrels with different barrel maturations.
So this one's 9 years old.
Yeah, they're all 9 years
Single
old.
barrel.
He had different names. I think there were four. There were four different ones. This one is called Schism.
I don't know why, but that just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Like Schism.
So
from
this
Tool?
is-
I'm sorry, Schism.
Like
Yeah.
from Tool?
Yeah, from Tool. Yeah.
Okay. Schism. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Schism.
Then
yeah.
there was one just called Take. Then there was one called, I forgot what the third one was, like something Gold, I think, or something like that. But just all the different maturations that he had put forth in these four bottles are all different. But this one,
the oak on the nose is so
Have a
prominent.
sip.
but this one is,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
but this one is proving to be the favorite of the four.
So this says on the back, the Reveries. Experience the Reveries, a dreamlike state fueled by select, rare, hand-picked casks. These releases represent cherished whiskeys from casks quietly procured over the years. How do you loudly procure casks? Just wondering.
You just stand outside and you go, I'm procuring
casks.
You play it loud.
declare bankruptcy.
Yes. You play it loud to Metallica.
Yes, that's it. Always cast strength, never filtered. Take T8.
But, I mean, look how dark that is for 9
Yeah,
years.
take.
Yeah, this is
This gives you the darkness.
This is definitely a rich-looking bourbon
I believe in a thing called love.
in the glass. It is very rich looking.
In the glass.
This is more
Into
old
the
school.
bowl.
Into the bowl.
Today we're gonna make
Into the bottle.
This is
GTS in the glass.
this is more the old school MGP profile.
You know, I'm getting pot roast. on
Go back
this.
to the nose after you have a couple sips.
Is this a prostitute on Bourbon Street?
He said pot roast. So to him, it's onions and peas.
That's what I said. A prostitute on Bourbon Street.
No, it was from the trip, and we were.
I know what you're saying.
I remember what you're saying
Holy
now.
cow!
How good is that?
This is so. The nose on this made me think it was going to be like Elijah Craig 18 over oaked, but
Oh,
no. But
No.
it's not at all.
The brown sugar just kicks you right in the nuts, doesn't it?
It does. When you taste it, but the nose, did you not like? It's very oaky on the nose.
Yeah, there's that old school MGP funky oak,
Yeah.
which kind of leads you in. But I get that nice little cherry maple lead up on the nose too.
Now that I've tasted it, I'm getting a little bit more of maple. Not so much cherry, but I'm getting maple on the nose for sure.
It's like tiramisu.
Oh man!
Oh, I could totally see coffee bean in there a little bit. You like
Oh,
this one,
yeah.
Tyler?
I get some coffee bean on the nose.
Choc-
Yeah,
little chocolate goodness.
for sure. I don't get the cherry so much, but I do get the maple. Now that you mention it, the coffee bean. Wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
This is outstanding. So how do you? I never even heard of this. Where did this come from?
It came from
I mean, I know where it came from, but like,
So he released this through R Bourbon.
Okay.
So if you're a member of the Our Bourbon Reddit,
Yeah.
I mean,
I do. I follow it.
yeah, I mean, it's difficult to get one of these, but if you're a member, you have a chance to sign up and get
They'll
the
send
bottles.
you an email, ask
Yeah.
you what you rank or what you like or
Yep.
something like that.
So those are really the only way to get him right now. He's got a couple more special releases coming out, which I'm really excited for. It's cool because I'm looking to do the same thing soon with my brand that got announced a couple months ago. So
Right. We talked about you being able to discuss it last time you were here, but you didn't discuss it.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
No,
Yeah.
go ahead and talk about it.
Just real quick, I partnered with Barrel King to launch my own brand called Drum Key Spirits.
That's a cool name.
So drum key is what you use to tune a
Yeah,
drum.
right,
So I
right.
felt like it was kind of a nice metaphor for, tuning a blend just right. So basically, I'll be working with Barrel King in order to source the barrels that I want and creating really amazing blends with some high-age whiskeys. I'll be doing about two maybe this year, but at least 4 to 5 releases a year.
Nice.
And they'll all be, good age, cast strength releases that I'm going to be blending and
What batch size?
curating. Anywhere from probably about 800 bottles
Okay.
per batch.
So, Barrel King. Talk about Barrel King. How did this come about?
So Barrel King is ran by Jared Record and his wife Rachel. Family business. They're amazing people.
Where are they located?
They're located in it's called Bourbon, Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
Yeah, Bourbon, Missouri. So they have brought to the table this subscription-only model. It's kind of like Patreon, but on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Where if you want to get access to their bottles, you have to be a member of their bourbon club.
So it's similar to what Pursuit United's doing right now.
Yeah, with their new club.
With their
Oh,
P Club, I
P-Club.
think it's
yeah,
called. Yeah,
exactly.
Or Old Carter has
And
their membership.
these models are becoming more popular as we go along.
Yeah,
but,
it's a way to kind of direct to consumer as much as possible type of thing.
So
Yeah.
Barrel King has a great following. They've released some pretty legendary blends.
Their stuff's
using-
been
Matt
outstanding.
Porter's involved.
A couple of things you've done have
Yeah.
been ridiculous.
ADHD whiskey, Matt Porter. He's actually contracted on as a blender, so he's doing some blends for them. He's a fantastic blender.
Any collaborations between you two?
I think eventually,
That'd be cool.
when we get there. But he's blending Barrel King blends. My own brand. So my brand Drum Key Spirits is going to have its own bottle shape, its own label design, everything wrapped up in between.
Okay.
It's like a full white label service.
Yep.
What's
Nice.
the possibility of a single barrel pick of the Drum Key to the Bourbon Hunters barrel selection?
I think Mash and Trinity might get the first one.
Yeah, I think our club would get the first one.
What?
You could have the second one.
What? How dare you?
Yeah, I don't. We have to see what barrels we would have. I already have.
I was just trying to be funny.
I've already sourced. We've already got some. The first barrels that we'll be working with is pretty exciting. It's Wild Turkey barrels, that are 10 years old.
Wow, 10 years. Nice.
Yeah. The second set of barrels, I can't say. I'll tell you guys off the air, but
Sure.
I'm going down to Kentucky. It is Kentucky bourbon, but I'm going down there at the end of April to taste through some lots of barrels, just to see which profile I want to work with. Certain ages, anywhere from 6 to 8 to 9 years old.
Barrel
So-
King. Where does Barrel King? Do they distill themselves, or do they?
No,
they source.
they're strictly an NDP.
Okay.
But they are, they do have a lot of plans to do some other things, possibly, their own mash bill. We'll see what happens. I'm really there I want to build my brand, and I just want access to these barrels so I can make
So
the whiskey
they're-
that I want.
They're really like a barrel club. In the sense
Squared.
that, like,
Squared.
they go out to the distillers and say, I want 10 of your barrels, 10 of your barrels, 10 of your barrels. And then whoever can, whether it's white label or any, can go in there and say, I want that barrel, I want this barrel, I want a mixture of 3.
Well, Barrel King has their own brands that they do. So
Okay.
they source barrels, and you can get their blends if you're a part of their club.
Yeah.
I met Jared, probably
Okay.
4 years ago now, and we just clicked. And
Yeah.
I just love talking to him about whiskey. He has a lot of crazy ideas, and we just go back and forth. And he's pretty much open to anything. So I've asked him like some ideas that I wanted to do, and he's like, we can do it. We have a cooperage right next to us that we can work with if you want to do certain finishes that you're looking at. So he's an open book, and that was the big reason why I selected them. Not only the great people they are, but because they're going to let me be creative.
Sure.
Very cool.
And that's what I want to
cool.
do. I want to be able to make the whiskey that I know I love, that I know other people will love.
Sure.
You know, Speyside is really good with reclaimed barrels too.
Well, do you remember the bomb burgers we had?
Yeah, PFG.
That PFG.
They're pretty fucking good.
The cooperage.
I don't think that's what it said.
The cooperage that worked on that is actually the one that is right next to
That's
Jared right
nice.
there.
Oh,
So
okay.
he has some really
So-
amazing barrel capabilities.
He went to Jared's.
He got down on one knee and said, "Jason, will you partner with us?"
This is really good.
Isn't this
Yeah.
good?
Yeah,
This
it's
is
real
really
good.
So I'm excited for it, and I think the first release will be in fall with a second follow-up in maybe winter.
Very nice.
But we'll see. But yeah, Drumkey Spirits. Keep
So
an
is
eye
he?
out.
They're looking at potentially contract distilling.
Yeah, with somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I-
eventually.
That was a few minutes ago. I just didn't want to pass by that. So
Yeah, I think that's on his mind. I don't
Yeah.
know if he's
because you
gonna
said
do
his own
that.
mash bill.
Yeah, I
So
think
I
he
was-
wants to do it, but we'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
some distribution here and there. Because right now you can only get it through Barrel King.
Sure.
And that's really going to be my model for my brand. Basically, if you're a Patreon member or you're a member of his gold club,
Yeah.
you can get access to the drum key bottles that I'm going to be creating.
That's pretty cool.
So it's a dream come true, man.
No, that's awesome. I felt like that was the next step for you anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of a natural progression.
With
but-
your palate and with your, you have the what's the blend again and all that stuff. I just felt like that was kind of the next progression for you anyway. So that's awesome.
I can't wait
Congrats,
to get
man.
it started.
This
man.
year's Blended, I'm coming.
Hey, hey, let's not make it about ourselves.
When it enters your mouth.
Certainly breathing heavy.
But, hey, Jesus. Congrats, by the way. That's
Thanks, man.
awesome.
I appreciate it.
Seriously, that's cool. Do we have anything else? Are we wanting
He has a Carter.
Oh, let's finish with
Let's
the
finish
Carter.
the Carter?
Let's want to. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you give that to Mr. Tyler over there? I know he was waiting for that one.
Well, his son's name's Carter, so
I know,
that's
I
a
know.
thing for him.
So that's a pretty legendary American whiskey
Yeah,
blend.
intro.
That's the number 4.
I have 11.
Yeah, the American whiskey
So
batch
wait.
number 11.
Does it go to 11?
It goes to 11.
But it goes to
So
11.
number 4 is a
Why
pretty
not?
legendary batch. And while I was cleaning out the whiskey room this week, I'm like, oh shit, I have a lot of this left.
Why not just make 10 louder?
Well, yeah. But it goes to 11.
It goes to 11.
Who does number 4 work for?
Yeah.
Well,
Dude,
fuck.
by the way, just let me borrow this.
Don't look at this. Take it. I don't care.
What is that?
It's one of my.
Maker's Picks?
He was. He didn't know that you were coming with what you came with.
No, I said, dude's like, come pick something out to drink tonight.
Because we were just gonna
JD
drink
brought
whatever,
stuff.
right? So he went and picked something out of
And,
my.
I said, I'm like, well, this probably depends on what Jason, if Jason brings anything. And
I always tell Jason he doesn't have to bring
I know.
shit.
but I thought like maybe he'd bring a bottle, not like 7.
7.
Well, ever since I got this travel case, it's much
So
easier
you
just to
fill
load
it
up.
every time.
So
you fill
I
it with
do.
all 6.
I'm literally on the phone with Kim before I came here, and I'm
Who's
like,
the travel kit from? Who's that from? Or don't say Ren and Ivy.
Amazon? I don't
Okay,
know. I just
okay.
got on Amazon.
As long as it's not
It's
Ren.
literally like a wine bag.
as long as it's not Ren and Ivy.
No, it's not. No, it comes with a small
That was the
cowboy
one I was
pudding
shown
with
with the
crushed
pic-
ice in it.
You should totally get a Dan and Sean backpack bottle holder.
Oh yeah, this is
Backpack.
pretty cool.
Backpacks kind of make it messed up.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but these American
You're wrong.
batches,
You're wrong.
I'm totally wrong.
You're wrong.
There's some light whiskeys in it?
Yes.
Okay.
You are
That's why it's
cor-
American
You are
whiskey.
correct, even though you're wrong.
That's why it's American whiskey, not bourbon.
And these are always so sweet and candy.
They're very candy.
Every time I've had an American whiskey, Old Carter, I've just
Makes me want to pour my batch 11 when I get home.
The two of them just went. It's like they're back on their honeymoon. Oh God.
I mean, she was making that sound.
Hey.
Hey, oh, hey.
But you weren't in the room.
I was videoing.
Hey.
He was videoing.
He was in his chair.
Hey,
He's just sitting in the corner hoping something enters his mouth.
cuckold fritches.
I was
Cuckold fritches.
I was like that guy on Dave Chappelle's Real World skit in the corner.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to stick with cuckold fritches.
Okay. Cuckold fritter? That doesn't work either.
No, fritches. Cuckold fritches just
Fritches.
rolls off the tongue. Yeah. If we do a T-shirt this year, it's
No.
cuckold fritches. He's the only one who has anything on the back of his shirt.
Let's replace fritches with fritter.
Fritches does sound like something fried.
No.
Like, can I have a side of Fritches
Or
with
you're
that?
gonna, or you're going to get your ice cream at Fritches. You're going to go get a sundae at Fritches.
Would
Hey,
you
you
like a
got-
side of fries with that or some Fritches?
You got any leftovers in the
fridges.
fridges?
Oh,
That's
that's
a good palate.
stuff. No, but you're the only
candy.
one who had anything on the back of their shirt last trip.
I know. I still wear it.
So,
Oh, my God. I forgot how good this is.
are you in for this year?
I think so, as of right now, yeah.
We're gonna pare it down a little bit, less people, but we're gonna try to allow to have Saturday night to be more of a gathering. And you know how you do your thing with
The
we're thinking about letting people come. We're thinking about using the same place, Woodford Hotel,
yeah, place was great.
but only doing one floor with the gathering room, and then letting people, if they want to, join us, bottle share, hang out that evening.
So there's some interest with the Neelys and McNew from the Bourbon Daily.
Is
coming
it the
to
same
hang out.
interest as we had from all the people that you said were coming that never showed up?
It happened to be the same day as their Christmas
I
party
know,
at the
I know.
distillery. So like
We're
it'd be
doing it a week earlier. this
Royce
year.
and Becca Sue. And,
Are we?
Yeah.
You're the one who told me to do it a week earlier.
Does that mean
My
does that mean
God.
it skips his birthday?
No, it'll be on his birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
it'll be on his birthday.
So he gets front seat again.
Did I tell you that?
You did tell me that. For fuck's sake, because of his
No,
birthday
Did he get his
and my wife's birthday, we moved it back a week. And then he's like, you know what? Let's move it back to the original time.
Yeah, my
which was like
birthday's
the
a-
repeal weekend. basically.
that first year, man? I didn't know he was gonna get his panties in a bunch over that.
Oh, he got his.
He's sitting in the front
Yes,
seat.
he and
dude.
well,
You
if
can't-
you wouldn't have fallen asleep and snored
Yeah.
in the front seat, he
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have cared. But you fell asleep and snored.
I forgot he fell asleep though.
No, you
Why,
were
what was the issue with falling asleep?
nothing.
I don't
But
know.
You're,
I
you're
have no
supposed
idea.
to be the navigator
Oh,
in that
boy.
seat.
The navigator.
I'm no better.
This guy's with
Yeah,
his
yeah,
head
yeah.
out the window and his tongue hanging out. He's not navigating anything.
He's
Well,
like
you-
he's like
do
a
you
golden
remember what
I'm like a
retriever.
golden doodle.
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. Wait.
You're like Carl.
He's a golden doodle.
Do you remember this last trip when he was supposed to be navigating? And
Yeah.
Martel.
and he
yeah.
dropped the ball.
Uh-huh.
Martel was like, "Hey, navigator,"
Because Martel was
Yeah.
navigating from like the third row
from
back.
the back row.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you navigating? Just put in the GPS. It's called. That's all.
But because of where my phone was, I couldn't use my own phone.
What does he say? The navigation's telling me to make a right here.
Remember when we went to Pursuit United, we missed the turn because he wasn't navigating.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't navigating.
So everyone gave him shit.
Dude, I have it in my phone as the weekend of the 12th. So are you sure I asked you for that weekend?
You did 100% ask me for the week.
Oh, here we go.
Of
was supposed-
repeal weekend?
It's supposed to be the weekend of the 5th this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool,
dude
cool.
had to pull me aside. I was like, Tyler's a little upset. You're sitting in the front. I'm like, I didn't know that was the thing.
I didn't say Tyler was a little upset. I just said this is Tyler's birthday weekend, and he would like to sit in the
It's
front
the
for
only.
his
It's the
birthday.
only. It's the only thing I care about. It's the only thing.
It's the only thing I care about.
Because I'll throw up in the back.
Only if we're going to Maker's Mark.
I mean,
Dude, I got you into Old Carter for
know.
the thing. Come on.
because
I
you're in the
couldn't
front,
I couldn't even
Josh.
sit in the
Josh
front of
has
his
to
asshole.
suffer.
Oh,
Josh
man.
suffers because you're in the front.
Oh, good.
Are we still doing the reveries right now?
No, this is
No,
the Old Carter.
Old Carter.
Oh, fuck. This is so good.
It's candy.
He's been pouring heavy all night.
I know he has.
Well, look at this. I did a bigger pour than you did.
Yeah.
I totally messed up
This
on
time,
this one.
dude's been pouring heavy all
Hey,
night.
Jason.
I've been on the money.
There's been no giggles.
I know, no giggles though.
I've been on the money all night.
Just unsolicited heavy pours.
I know.
One of the things
Followed by
about
heavy breathing.
shrinking it down as well is we do want to do a barrel pick while we're there.
We're gonna do.
I think
Knob
we're gonna
Creek.
do
Knob
Creek.
Yeah.
Oh, Knob Creek pick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's going to be part of the trip this year.
Maybe Ariel Yan will be there.
Hey,
I
maybe
can ask her, yeah.
Peerless we could do a Peerless when we're there.
We
too.
don't need to do multiple
Peerless is
picks.
probably next year.
Yeah.
Don't do-
Peerless.
but
Hey, just
don't
being
do
real.
Don't do a Peerless when I'm there because I just have bad luck with Peerless.
Okay.
They
First
get
pick
lost.
I did, it ended up.
We won't ever
It
see
got
it.
lost.
Hey,
the
I
second
have-
pick I did, it ended up in New Orleans. Just I don't want to do a Peerless.
I still have
pick.
a quarter bottle of that left.
I know the Apple Funk.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like we could knock another out.
I think Knob Creek's one pick is enough.
Peerless is
for that weekend.
Peerless is
Because
looking like next year.
Here's the plan. Friday's going to be our normal blitz. Saturday, due to Brett's recommendation, and I 100% agree, we're going to do like a half day, and then spend the rest of the time hanging out at the hotel,
Nice.
Sure.
grilling out. You know,
Heck yeah.
just
Well,
kind of
I like the grilling
having
idea.
people come in,
Yeah.
and just hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
I think we've seen all the gift shops. We've seen all the things there are to do. James E. Pepper was a great, thing that we hadn't done before.
Yep.
But I really like the idea that Brett brought forth of just kind of hanging out as a group, bringing people in if they're willing to come, and just hanging out.
Let's make some invitations for me to mail out to people.
For you to mail out?
For me to mail out.
Why you?
I mean, you can mail them if you want.
Why do you have to mail
Like
them
a
out?
printed mail.
like an invitation to come to our hangout. that
Yeah,
Saturday.
but that was going to be part of our Patreon, is to make that a meetup. If anyone wants to come,
I mean, for like the industry experts of.
well,
people.
I would love to. For you, this is where
That's
you
what I mean.
shine.
I want invitations
is
to.
for you to bring people to our. The problem is here's the problem, in my opinion, is that the Woodford Hotel I love it. It was amazing, but it's far away from Bardstown and Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's in those industries, do they really want to come all the way over there?
to Versailles.
If it's in the middle of the day, maybe.
Right.
In the evening, not
Maybe
so
I
much.
could get Connor or Driscoll to come over and say Hyman pour, then leave.
Just walk in, Hyman pour, and then
maybe
leave.
maybe Brent Elliott to. do the
But
same.
here's where I think Brett's idea makes the most sense. If it's in the middle of the day, they're more likely to come an hour away to hang out and then leave.
Yep.
If it starts at 7,
Yeah.
Plus, we're not getting home and
Like-
just and exhausted. Before
Right.
we hang
I could
out.
probably get
Yeah.
John and his wife to come and hang out for a little bit and then go back.
By the
home.
way, really quick, just I don't know why this just entered my brain. Did
entered your mouth.
entered my mouth? Did we we ever tell Ron that we didn't get actually all those
We did.
Russell's 15s?
Yeah, he's been in communication with me.
Okay.
He was very upset.
Wait, he was upset that we faked it, or was upset that we? Because I know when we initially got him,
Both.
he was very upset.
Both. He was
Okay.
upset that he didn't get to come. He was upset that we had all those Russell's 15s. And then he was upset that we fucked with him. And then he looked at the picture and he's like, fuck. He's like, that's obvious. He's like, now I can see it. But yeah. So all that, like,
Yeah, probably in the heat of the moment when he's heated and like missing out, he probably sees that photo and just freaking out.
So do you remember I FaceTimed him when we were in Louisville, or Versailles, at that place, and he was sleeping on the couch in his basement.
Yeah.
Good story.
Poor guy.
It's a good story.
It's a good story.
glad
So
you-
I've talked
You
to
just
him a
had to
few
be
times
there.
since then. He's fine, but he was upset about that whole.
Was he actually upset? He can
He
be.
was.
He was upset that he didn't get to go with us.
Yeah.
No.
100%.
But was he upset that we sent that?
No.
Long
No,
story.
he
long
thought
story,
that was funny.
Long story short, everybody, I made a fake picture of Russell's 15s on a giant table.
For all of us.
Yeah, there was like 10 Russell's 15s on the table that he thought we made up a story that we got him at Wild Turkey. when
From
we
Bo
visited.
Garrett.
From Bo Garrett.
on the trip that he was not able to come to.
Yeah.
So we sent him the
So-
photo, and he was like, "What the fuck?" He was freaking out.
So no,
And then he slept on the couch for it.
he was upset that
He was probably a little depressed.
he was 100%
Yeah.
depressed up front.
He was living vicariously through us.
Yeah. So this is
Texting
Ron.
all
This
the
is
time.
Ron from our Jack Daniels pick.
Ron in 60 seconds.
Ron in 60 seconds.
That's right. Good pick.
And it was a good sticker, I think.
From Tyrone, or not Tyrone, what am I saying? Warehouse 1-1 on
1-1. Yeah.
Tan Yard Hill.
It's going to be a good pick. Have you had it yet?
Yeah, I tasted it last time I was
Did
here.
you? Okay.
Yeah, it's like everything I love about Jack Daniels turned up to 11.
To 11.
I mean, you can't replace those old warehouses.
No, it was really
Even
good.
when half of them fall.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Or flood.
No flooding in Jack Daniels.
God, did you see the flood picks at Buffalo Trace?
That's insane.
insane.
Did you see the
I have
gift
a
the gift shop
my group
inside
had
the gift shop?
My group had a pick there next week.
And is that canceled?
Canceled.
Oh man.
Yeah, so she said
Really?
she told us that we need to.
I remember you doing
we need to like reschedule. I was actually going to miss it. Excuse me, because I'm flying to Orlando for work next week, and I was just sending the group there. But now that it's rescheduled, might be able to actually go and experience it.
Oh
but
wow, that's good.
For now, all the picks were.
What are you going to
canceled.
pick? What are you going to pick?
Buffalo Trace, wasn't
I
it?
think it was a Buffalo Trace pick,
Yeah.
which can be really good.
Yeah,
so I'm good with it.
People love the Buffalo Trace store
Yeah.
picks.
The Two Bros One Bottle group here, local to Blacklick, did a Buffalo Trace pick not long ago.
Yeah,
Got
I mean
chosen.
they're
They're
since
great. They're
I've seen
affordable.
those.
What do you know about the process? Like, not getting the barrel, but is there anything unique about Buffalo Trace's barrel picks?
Well, I'm curious about that because the first Buffalo Trace pick I ever did, I did it for a liquor store like 5 or 6 years ago, and the experience, tough. You know, I don't want to say it, but it sucked.
It lacked. Yeah.
It was like you had three.
They've stepped up their game
and it
from
was
what
a
I
well,
understand.
Yeah, and it was a Weller foolproof pick.
Oh.
So we went in. We had 3 barrels and plastic shot glasses.
What?
They're like, here you go, and we had to share.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So it wasn't great. So my first
But
pick
5 years
experience-
ago, think about that though. 5 years ago, that was before single
The boom.
barrel picks became like this big, like,
Before they start curating it.
I get that part, but still,
but not just curating, but before it became this experience that they wanted everyone to have.
but being Buffalo Trace, I just expected a lot more.
Sure.
yeah,
So I'm curious to
It's
see
the-
how it is now.
The
I
creme de
you
la
know,
creme that everyone wants one of those.
and I've heard that everybody, it's a lot better now. So I'm curious
Sure.
to kind of re-experience it again and see how it goes. So
Very cool.
yeah.
So the last topic I think you want to talk about was value and finding a value bourbon.
yeah, just kind of how to navigate
Price points.
price points and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's initially, and I'll just say these 2 things: age isn't everything with whiskey. If you see something that's the higher the age, doesn't always mean it's going to be better.
Sure.
For sure. Because even Jimmy Russell at Wild Turkey, the wise man himself will tell you that because he likes his bourbons
8 years.
right about 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
Anything above that, he thinks it's way overdone. But some people like the 11, 12, 13 year. They like the more oaky types of bourbons. But again, we're talking about something that's palate specific. And also when it comes to high price, just because something is a lot of money doesn't mean it's better either. So that's
Right.
where it comes into finding those values.
Well, you know what a great example of that is?
Single barrels.
Old Forester 100 signature. Seriously.
always goes back to that. Yeah.
But like it always does well.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. It's not going to win against like the most amazing things ever, but it always shines.
For me, the best
Always
value
shines.
for the buck has always been Knob Creek 9 single barrel reserve.
Even Knob Creek 12 year. I mean, it's,
That's-
a high
yeah.
age, but it's only $60.
But the 9's 120 proof.
Oh, the single barrel, yeah.
The single barrel one. Yeah.
But even if you don't want to go that high, I
It's
think
like $50.
Elijah Craig barrel proof, Russell's Reserve single barrel.
but Old Forester 100 signature is
Forester
like
100.
$25.
Even Old Forester
Wild Turkey
1910 and
101.
1920
Well,
are,
yeah,
are great
those
values.
are $50, and yeah, no,
There's
that's a
plenty,
good point too.
There's
Yeah.
plenty of values. But again, this goes back to picking a brand, tasting through it, and then you pick out those bottles you like and see what those price points are and see where you kind of like to fall. Maybe you end up doing like stuff
Rare
that's more
breed.
expensive. Rare breed is a absolute monster value.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite values of all time. Rare
Yep.
breed.
and how much is Rare Breed?
Was it like 45 bucks now?
Yeah, it might
47?
be 47 now.
And you're talking about
It's blend
117
of,
proof?
What is it, 8, 10, and 12 year?
114, I
Whiskey's
thought.
blended into that?
is it 114
114
or 117
It's
proof?
116.
116.
Oh,
We were both wrong.
we were both wrong.
But like, but still, like that's a high value, 116 proof, and I mean,
And it's so fucking good.
it is good.
Yep.
It is good.
That's good.
There was that dip of rare reed where people
Henry
were talking about
McKenna
it
is
not being as
another
good,
one
but-
that's an incredible.
Yeah.
And one that's-
$54.
One that's creeped up on my list, even though it doesn't have the age, but the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
one that one
100%. I
that's
just
one
killed
that-
a bottle of that.
That's one that I didn't like in the beginning, but the more I've tasted it, I think
it's
it's
so
gotten
good.
better.
It's just so good.
It's so good for them. I mean, it's $60. But
What does your mom think of Henry McKenna?
Oh my god, I love Henry McKenna. It's my favorite bottle ever.
Yes.
She loves it.
10 years,
10 years old.
$54.
She's got like 15 bottles right now in the hopper.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, she got it. She got them all gifted at our event last year. Everybody brought her a bottle of McKenna. To like
Yes.
take my whole my truck was filled with Henry McKenna and Bardstown Bourbon Company single barrel picks.
Is your mom looking for like a sugar daddy type of guy?
Jesus Christ.
What is happening? No, but I'll tell you what. I'm trying to get the event this year at Heaven Hill.
Ooh,
If
cool.
that happens, no joke, I'm asking Conor Driscoll if it's possible for us to do a Henry McKenna single barrel selection just for the event.
Just your mom will
And
go.
my mom will be there, and I will actually bring her to do the selection.
Listen,
Dude,
if you get a Heaven Hill, I'm going to be there.
if I get a McKenna pick,
No, even if you don't get a McKenna pick, if you just get
if I get into Heaven Hill to do
Yes.
this, yeah, it'll
I'll be
cool.
there.
I
I'll
have
be
a lot
there.
of ideas for how the
Is
night
it her
could
birthday
go.
or anything like that?
No, her birthday is this month, April
Nice.
25th.
yeah, it's it.
Yeah.
I knew that.
But she went to the one last year at Bardstown Bourbon
Oh,
Company,
nice.
and
Yeah.
she like had the time of her life. But if this is at Heaven Hill, which is like her favorite like products of all time,
The dusty muffin will get
She's-
moist again.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus,
Jason's never coming back.
That was hilarious. Come on. That was good. He just gear shifted me. Come on. That was funny. That was funny.
dusty.
Fuck you
muffin.
guys. How is your mom?
She's I'm not saying over the air because if she hears it, she'll kill me.
How about this? When was she born?
The 50s. I'll say that.
So
Do the math.
Oh, that's not old.
Dusty
That's not that old.
muffin. Moist again. That's all I'm saying.
My dad was born in
my God.
59.
All right. Fuck
I'm
off.
gonna heave this Four
This-
Roses bottle out of this empty one.
Listen, here's the thing.
Tomahawk him
135th right in his fucking head.
Right in his head. So
right to the dome.
Right in the dome.
put the bottle in the dome. So here we go. This was a Back to the Basics episode. We forgot about that, right?
Well, we went through it.
No, we went through it. We did. So closing arguments / comments. JD, go.
On what?
I just saw. Here's the thing. I saw that you were in your phone, not listening to anything. That's why I called you out.
I mean, at Gear Shift, I was a part of some of it.
you were part of some of it. You're 100% right.
Anybody have a favorite pour from tonight?
Oh,
The
this
old Carter.
The old Carter, yeah.
Actually, do you have any left of the not tonight, but the larceny?
that was me.
Larceny.
I know. Do you have any left in your glass?
He did. He didn't finish his
I
glass.
finished my larceny.
Oh, did you chug it
Why?
at the end?
Why?
It's great. It's still good. I've gone back. I've gone back to sip that a couple of times. Like
It was so anticlimactic.
Right.
I was waiting for like
No,
this.
it's like Chris.
You have.
It's like
Hey,
the Chris
I
Farley
can
show
give you
where
some
he's
if you want some.
interviewing.
Yeah. Do you remember that time?
You know Beatlemania?
You remember that time?
Remember
when
that
you
time?
did that thing?
Wasn't that awesome? That's what he did.
He did.
You know that lyric that the love you make is
I thought he was
to the
I
love
thought he was
you
gonna be
take?
like, remember that time when we tried like cheesy gold foil? Do you have any of that left? But no, it was just like, you have that Larson in your glass? Isn't that good? It's better.
I did want to ask you, do you have the
shit.
cathedral?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we think? I just saw that.
Cathedral's what?
The Bardstown Cathedral.
You have
Oh, you haven't had that yet?
No.
I'll bring that next time.
A 300-year-old French oak.
It's so
They
good.
just did the 60-minute
Is it good?
interview
It's
on it.
delicious. The only thing it lacks a little bit is on the finish, but the front and mid palate are exceptional.
I've only seen it secondary
next
for
Tuesday?
$350.
Yeah, we could bring that. Well, actually, speaking of Bourbon Road, Todd Ritter, who's on Bourbon Road now,
Yeah.
I just
let
talked
him
with
bar-
him.
I let him borrow the bottle for the for an episode. So I got to see if he's done with it. If he's done with it, I'll have him ship it back, and we can do it next week.
Cool.
Check that tomorrow.
I just talked with
Let's
Todd.
do it
Ritter.
next
Actually,
Tuesday.
No, I can't because I'll be in Orlando next week on Tuesday.
We can do it without you.
Do it the,
Hey, have him ship
it the week after.
Have him ship it straight here.
you know what
He's
we should
in
do?
Italy.
We should do it the week
No,
after.
no, I won't be in Italy yet. The week after is the week before I leave for
Oh,
Italy.
okay.
All right, so in 2 weeks,
What? Am I drunk?
well, yeah.
Am I drunk?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're getting the stroke eye. I can always tell. His eyes, yeah, his eye, his
What eyebrows
my
not lifting?
my right, his left eye.
Wait, it's
Is
Forrest
not-
Whitaker.
the eyebrows not
It
lifting.
starts closing like Popeye.
It's Forrest Whitaker.
so I know he's getting a little drunk. It happens at my house when we do the blind tasting. And he also starts cursing a lot more. Ever notice
Yeah.
that? That's how you know when he's getting a little drunky over there.
Where's olive oil?
Hey, hey.
That's what he named his penis.
Yeah. Extra virgin olive oil.
Oh, spinach.
Oh, what the fuck's happening? I feel like
I don't know. Open
I
your
feel
eye.
like
Open your
hold
eye.
on.
I can't-
That should be the intro.
He's always winking at me.
I feel like you guys.
You're
Have,
Brutus.
I feel
Are
like
you
got-
wimpy with the burgers?
Can I have a burger today and I'll pay
I'll
you
pay you on
tomorrow?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh man.
I feel like you guys just took my place in the podcast.
We totally judged you.
That was 100% me right there.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was
was awesome.
amazing.
Job.
That was amazing. Oh fuck. That was good. That was good.
And with that,
Anyway, have them ship that to me. You don't need to be here.
no, I was thinking we could do since they're both French oak, it would be cool to do like a bomb burgers versus cathedral.
Ooh,
episode.
pretty fucking good.
And maybe we get some other French oak ones to kind of throw in there.
trying to think what I.
Penelope Architect.
I leave for
Oh.
Italy on April 27th.
No one cares.
So the week
And he says it while he's looking at his phone. That makes it worse.
right, it's like he dunked on me.
Yeah, he just dunked.
It was like a posterized. No, so the week before April 27th, if we want to do that, if you can get it back before then,
I'm sure I can get it back before then. So that would be the
Sunday is April
22nd.
27th, so 22nd.
It'd be the 22nd.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I will not be here, which is
So
very
that's perfect.
fitting.
That's perfect.
very fitting. It's very fitting.
That's perfect.
I'm actually coming home from that distillery visit on the 22nd, but I should be back in time. So
If we can do it, let's do it.
Yep.
So
If not-
I just reached out to Todd Ritter because they just did blind barrels, and I was like, "You need to listen to ours when it drops because our notes are identical."
Yeah. They have blind barrels on. It posted this week. Ours doesn't post till the.
did you guys get a good kit?
The Untouchables.
I did it live on the Master and Drum, and I was like, I literally, like, I felt so bad. I tasted one, I almost spit it out.
It was not bad.
I understand that it's geared towards craft,
Yeah.
but some of that stuff is crafty craft.
Yes.
Yeah.
Craft. Wait, he added the third craft.
Crafty craft.
Crafty craft.
If he hadn't added the third craft, I would have disagreed. But he added the third craft.
So it was a member of the Kraft family.
Yeah.
It was.
I still will never forget the episode when you like debunked his whole rating system, and he tasted that one, and I don't know who said.
So
it.
it's a
Somebody-
3?
Somebody said it tasted like a.
It was Whiskey of the Month
like a
episode.
balloon.
Whiskey of the Month.
Who said it was a balloon? It tasted like a rubber balloon.
That was me.
That was. I'm like, that sounds terrible.
And he's like, so you're saying
He's
it's
like,
a
so you're
3?
saying it's a 3?
When did you taste latex?
All the time.
Okay.
all the times.
All the time.
Specifically pegging
times.
Fridays.
No, it was more about the oral sex Fridays in
No.
college.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah. We all had that week, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for joining in. We have.
If you made it this far,
yeah,
We've jumped the shark.
Yeah,
we
we
are
jumped
way
the shark.
past our time frame.
Fonzie jumped the shark a long time ago. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you next week. And
Leave a good review.
yeah, leave a good review.
5 stars.
I love that.
If
6
you're,
stars.
if you're still
6.
listening, give us 6 stars. help us fix the
It's
average.
not an option. It's not an option, but you could draw one on your computer screen.
Listen, if you don't like ASMR, we've already got those reviews.
What? No, honestly, guys, thanks for joining in. Obviously, you can tell we were having a good time. I'm half in the bag right now.
We're all friends, you know. Just
Yeah.
you can tell.
Are we?
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude, open your left eye. My God, what's happening?
Forrest Whitaker.
are we really friends? Because
Thanks for listening.
see you next week, guys.
Thank you for joining us on yet another hunt for bourbon. Please give us a 5-star review anywhere you are listening, but if you don't, leave some constructive criticism in the review so that we can better improve our show. But until then, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon. The Bourbon Hunters podcast has been craft distilled, produced, recorded, and edited by Dude Pool. For any questions, comments, or recommendations, please reach out to info@bourbonhunters.com